Hey, welcome to another episode of Small Doses with Laura Sell. Hey guys, so remember I told you when I did my health anniversary that all my podcasts moving forward would not be about my health. So here we go. This has nothing to do, well, in a roundabout way it does, but this doesn't have to do with my physical health and my personal journey. So today I just want to stop by. This thing has been bothering me. So we are in our election cycle. The news media has just been going nuts ever since the debate when Dark Brandon didn't show up. He sent old Joe and not old Scrappy Joe from Scranton. He sent old Joe who probably needed to have been taking a nap, right? And so everybody has been talking about it, all the news outlets, and suddenly all the Democrats are doing what Democrats always do. Democrats always want Democrats to step down and move on and da 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 da. And the people on that Republican side of the aisle, honey, let me tell you what. They don't care what their people do. They gonna stand 10 toes down, as evidenced by them standing 10 toes down by the twice impeached and 10 toes down with this man who was just convicted with 34 felony charges. What? From trying to steal? Well, no, that wasn't from trying to steal the last election. That was from paying the porn star to not come out and tell what happened because he was afraid it was going to affect the election. So still trying to steal the election from the beginning, right? So anyway, way back in 2015, 16, he was paying old girl, right? So, but they're going to stand 10 toes down with him. It doesn't matter, okay? But Democrats can be so righteous and self-righteous, the slightest little thing. Honey, if somebody picked their teeth on the congressional floor, they're going to be like, oh, no, we're not supposed to pick our teeth on the congressional floor. She got to go or he got to go. In a minute, we'll do it. Joe had one bad night. After 3 years of one of the most successful presidencies, I'm not finna give y'all the stats. They're out there, right? You can go look for it. But what I came to do is share with you my opinion. You didn't ask for it, but if you're here, you're gonna get it. So let me tell you what I know about America. I'm a black woman raised in the South. So if I know anything, I know Southern white people. Keep in mind, they got folks that have traveled out of the South just like we do, right? So let me tell you what I know to be true as a black American who has experienced the microaggressions and the aggressions and just racism in every shape, form, or fashion. I grew up in the era where they told us we had to do 120% more than our white counterparts. And even when we put out 120% more than they did, we still were not going to be able to get the same things that they got, okay? I grew up in a situation where nepotism was really bad in the white community. And when it happened in the black community, oh, it was so frowned upon by everybody, black folk, white folk, everybody. Nobody wants to see a black person come up on the come up and raise their children to come up on the come up. That's just, it's frowned upon now. Okay. So, listen, let's talk about this whole presidential thing real quick. Joe had a bad day. It was horrible. I went to sleep. I couldn't watch it after about 5 or 10 minutes. I was done. Because the old boy over there lying and doing what he does best, projecting his own bullshiggity onto any and everybody else, right? And Joe just couldn't get his stats right. He couldn't make a sentence. It was painful to watch. Yes. But let me tell you this. They could prop Joe up like that man on Weekend at Bernie's. I'm going to vote for him. Why? Because Project 25 is coming with what? 2025 is coming whichever Republican takes that office. Whether it's that orange guy or any other number of people in that party, Project 2025, go look it up. It is coming with whomever gets that job on the Republican ticket. Trust and believe. And it ain't going to fare well for black folk. It ain't going to fare well for women of any race or ethnicity. It's not going to fare well for anybody coming from the South to get into this country. Now, Eastern Europeans are going to always have a path because, first of all, their skin color going to get them in here, right? So anybody that's brown, dog brown, super dog brown, and black trying to come in from south of the border, your life going to be made real difficult. And if you're already here and you're from south of the border, bye-bye, because they're coming for you, right? So all of the rights are going to be taken away. They're going to go back to states' rights. So if your state don't want it to happen, it's probably not going to happen, right? Things are going to get really bad with this Project 2025, okay? They're gunning for everybody's rights. So if you did watch The Handmaid's Tale, oh, baby, Handmaid's Tale is probably a better story than what we will experience in 2025. But here, let me tell you about this presidential thing. I want y'all to bear with me now. So if Joe runs, Kamala is already going to remain the vice president when Joe wins, right? Let's just say Joe starts slowing down really bad. He needs to go to the house, and Joe and his family sit down and say, well, Joe, it's time. And Joe says, yeah, you're right. And Joe goes to the house. Everything will roll over to Kamala. She will be sworn in as the next president of the United States of America. And if we turn DC blue like I hope we turn DC blue, hence I'm wearing the blue, Hakeem Jeffries will be the Speaker of the House, right? Because he's already the minority leader. So if Kamala gets bumped, guess who's coming next? Speaker of the House will then be made the vice president, and he will be sworn in. And baby, let me just tell you what. That earthquake that you feel, it will have nothing to do with the Richter scale. It will have nothing to do with the fault lines in the earth. It will have nothing to do with the planet. It will be all the white folks from the Confederacy, all the white folk that died yesterday and last week, rolling over in their grave because it'll be two black people sitting in the two top chairs of the United States. So this is why people are already calling for Joe to step down. They skipping over Kamala. They looking at Governor Newsom, and they looking at all these other people. Anybody that's been an Eagle Scout, Boy Scout, president of the student council, they looking at anybody. They just started talking about Kamala like yesterday and this morning. 4th of July today, they just, I'm like, they talking about Kamala now. Why they talking about Kamala now? Because they starting to listen to the rumblings of the black people like, well, wait a minute. Why are we talking about Newsom? Kamala would already be next in line if Joe was in office, which he is in office right now. So why are we not looking at the current vice president? Because that's usually how it goes, guys, is president, vice president. So let's say Joe has served 2 terms and Kamala is next. Then we'll be looking for Kamala to run. Remember, Joe didn't run after Barack Obama left office because he was grieving his son who had recently passed. Had his son not passed, Joe would have probably run then, and this would be his 2nd term, right? Okay? So, listen, people. They are not ready for 2 black people to be president, vice president. They are not ready for that. Listen, white America at its core is still reeling over the fact that Barack Obama was even in there. Some of them were like, they woke up that November the 9th and was like, ooh, I got a little excited. I didn't know he was going to win. I voted for him because he was handsome. Or I voted for him because he was so articulate. Or I voted for him because his family is just so cute. Didn't think he was going to win. What? He won. And what happened on inauguration night? What did old Mitch and the team do? They sat up and they drank coffee and ate bagels while they tried to figure out how they were going to stop Obama at everything he tried to do. And they almost were completely successful. They stopped a whole lot of things he wanted to do. But what I came by here to tell you was this. We got to be smart because there's already a plan in place. President goes, vice president steps up, Speaker of the House moves over. They don't want that. They don't want that. Even the most liberal-minded white politicians don't want that because they know that chances are blue-collar white America with no college education, first of all, they ain't gonna vote for a woman. They didn't vote for Hillary. And Hillary was one of the most prepared human beings in the United States of America to take that job. They couldn't see themselves doing it. The sexism. See, they had nothing to do with race then. It was sexism. But see, you take sexism and throw it in with a little racism. Y'all, they do not want Kamala in there. Let me tell you what. The Republicans wouldn't even back Nikki Haley. And Nikki Haley has run a whole red state before. But across the country, Nikki too brown for them people. Nikki don't believe it because Nikki thinks she's white. Somebody better tell her. Somebody better tell her. That's why her daddy was teaching at a HBCU. And that's why her mama was selling dresses to black people. Because the white people down there in South Carolina, they weren't having that. But some of y'all gonna be mad at me. Y'all gonna say, ooh, Laura Sale, that's just so racist. Well, first of all, I can't be racist because I'm black. I have no way to hurt anybody, take anything from you. I can't stop your money. I have no systems in place. Now, what I can be is biased. I can be that. And I am. I can be biased. But what I can also be is honest. I can be very, very honest. Okay. So sip the tea, sip the coffee, whatever you want to sip. But just know this. So I would say this to my Democratic voting friends, my liberal voting friends, and my friends who are on the fence and don't know what you want to do. If they decide they want to change horses in the middle of the stream, it's going to be a free for all. I'm just going to sit back and watch it. Because like I said, I don't care who's on the Democratic ticket. Honey, they can run my shih tzu. I'm voting for them. Because the alternative is Project 2025. So I want to support the democracy. I want to keep the democracy. But what's going to happen is the Democratic Party is going to implode if they don't go with Joe and they don't go with Kamala. It is going to implode because you got the black liberals and you got the other minority liberals that are going to want to stand 10 toes down with Kamala because she's next in line. And then you're going to have those other ones who are voting from another perspective that's just going to say they know those blue collar workers in middle America are not going to vote for a woman. They are not going to vote for a black woman. They are not going to vote for a woman who is biracial of two ethnicities, and neither one of them is white. They're just not going to do it. And that's where a lot of this clitter clatter is coming from. So not that anybody going to listen to me because I just got one vote and I'm going to cast it. And I told you how I'm going to cast it. Baby, they could put a pet rock on the Democratic ticket. I'm voting for the pet rock, right? That's just how serious this is for me because I'm not interested in living in 2025. I have been a student of history for many years. In fact, I was going to major in history when I was in college. I was persuaded to major something else. But anyway, that's another story. That's for another day. But I've been a student of history for a very long time. And for some reason, since I was a little girl, I've always been very over interested in the events of World War I and World War II. And let me tell you what. Nothing good was going on in World War II because, see, look, America didn't even want to get in that scrum. Because what a lot of people don't realize is that there was a Nazi party here in America. They met in Madison Square Gardens. Look it up. Thousands of them. Look it up. Yes, Madison Square Gardens, right here in America. America was not interested in World War II because we were still repairing from World War I. Had Japan not destroyed the ships in Pearl Harbor on that December 7th that they did, we would never have gotten into the scrum. We were forced into the scrum. And it just so happened that once we got into the scrum and American soldiers saw what we already knew was happening and they saw it with their own eyes, that's when America got vested. That's when we got in elbow deep, knee deep into the scrum and saving the people who were suffering during the Holocaust. Okay? America was not interested in that. So every time I see everybody go, oh, America was such heroes, America were late heroes because we did not want to do the things that we ended up having to do. Okay? But sometimes you are forced into your greatness. And right now, I need for everybody who is liberal-minded, who is left-leaning, who is democratic thinking, who is in the middle of the road, haven't made a decision, who may be conservative, but no, you can't go with that clown, and you know in your heart of hearts that Project 2025 is going to hurt people who look like you, or people that you love, or people that you know, and you just can't go with that. And people who are interested in saving our democracy as we know it to be today, because America is not a Christian country. The founding fathers, all of them were not even Christian. Look it up. Stop telling this lie that America is a Christian country. America is not a Christian country. America was formed based on freedom of religion. You had people who came here because of religious persecution. So we've never been a Christian country. We've always been open armed and received people of other religions. So be mindful as you are excited about the Ten Commandments being put in the classroom. Just wait till other religions start wanting to put their tenets on the wall. Okay? Be mindful of putting prayer in school, because guess what? Whose prayers are we going to be praying? Teach your children to pray the prayers that they need to pray in honor of whomever it is that you and your family worship. Because guess what? Your deity can hear you in your thoughts, whatever your deity is. You don't have to say it out loud. So teach your children to worship in their hearts and in their minds, whatever and whomever it is they worship. Okay? Stop trying to make this be a Christian country. Because I'm going to tell you what, there's a lot of people who identify as Christian. I don't want them praying for me or anybody that I love. Because let me tell you what I do know. I'm going to make some friends mad. And I grew up in the church. Y'all know every time they open the door at my church I grew up in, I was in there. But I'm going to tell you what I do know to be true. The church is a hospital for the sin-sick soul. I'm going to say that again. The church is the hospital for the sin-sick soul. Now, some of these souls got colds. Some of them got the sniffles. Some of these souls got full-on flu and other viruses that need a whole lot more. So some of these souls need to be quarantined. And those are the souls I don't want praying for me. I don't want touching me, putting hands on me. I don't want you touching, putting hands on my children. Because, honey, I have seen some folks worship the Lord in 1 minute and cuss you cold out 10 seconds after the man says the doors of the church are open. So let me tell you what. I don't even want some folks that identify in my same faith praying for me. That's how serious this is. America is not a Christian country. That's all I want to leave you with that. But remember, there is a pecking order. There's president, vice president. President goes, vice president goes up. Speaker of the House is next. Watch what I said. They don't go with Joe and Kamala as it is Joe and Kamala, and they skip over Kamala and go with somebody else, you're going to piss off the women. You're going to piss off the black women who put most of y'all in the seats that you're in, because y'all always pimping out the black vote, and it's the black women that show up. Remember we kept Roy Moore out of Alabama? Remember we pushed Warnock and oh boy, in Georgia, across the line? It's the black women who are doing these magical things, okay? It's always a black woman doing the magical things, right? So let me tell you what, something about them black ovaries, honey, they just like gold. But listen, I do want you to register to vote, whatever. And I want you to vote. I really don't want to tell you who to vote for. I don't want to tell you, because I shouldn't, but I don't care. If y'all don't turn all of it blue, we're going to be crying a lot of red tears, because these people are trying to make this a Christian nation. They are trying to take away all of your rights. They are trying to dismantle all of the systems that are in place, all of the institutions. From the EPA, you're going to be drinking nasty, dirty water. The FDA already let you eat roach and rat remains and stuff in the food, right? They already letting some of it through. Just imagine how much more will go through if we get rid of the FDA. They want to turn over everything, education, all of the things that keep us safe. They want to dismantle it. They want to dismantle the unions. Remember, the unions are why we have a 40-hour work week. The unions are why children don't work. The unions are why you get some paid time off, right? So we need to keep our unions, whether your job is unionized or not. The unions have us in a safe working space. So do not allow these people to come in and dismantle all of these things that our country has worked decades and decades and decades and decades to get. Do not allow them to take away our voting rights. Do not allow them to continue to take away our rights for autonomy over our own bodies. We must stop this. We must stop it now. Like what I'm saying, don't like what I'm saying, I really don't care. I've told you who I am and what I'm going to do, and that's just what it is. We have got to stop Project 2025. Go look it up. Go read it. If you don't read the whole thing, read the Cliff Notes. But you need to know what is lying ahead if for some reason the president of the United States is a Republican, if for some reason we re-elect a red Senate and we elect a red Congress, we have got to turn DC blue on this next election cycle. So it's another episode of Small Doses with Laracel. Deuces, live well and in good health, and I'll see you guys the next time. Bye.